What is up, guys and gals? Welcome to episode number 157 of the Nonsense Review. That's right, we've made the same amount of episodes as Steph Curry has done 3-point field goals in a row. How about that, Rick?
Wow, that's a number and that's a name.
Have you heard of Steph Curry?
No.
Very famous. Well, he's up there with Jordan and Kobe Bryant as far as basketball players go.
Okay, I didn't even know he was a basketball player. Even when you said field goal, I assumed you meant a football player.
But I said 3-point field goals.
Okay.
Anyway, he's that player who was so good at scoring 3-pointers that the NBA considered pushing the line back for how far you have to be from the net to score one, to which point it got pointed out that if you do that, Steph Curry will be the only player to be able to score 3-pointers. But yes, fascinating sport fact out of the day, the normies can leave now. I'm your host as always, Devon, and joining me equal as always is, as we mentioned, Rick.
Hello everybody.
We should probably get this out of the way actually. We were going to do a themed month this month, but we had awful recording issues last week, so we just put out an Adventure Time.
Yep.
We'll scrap that month, come back to it, and we'll do it another time. This month we're just going to watch stuff we feel like watching, including a little indie thing that Rick found. Those of you familiar with the podcast probably already know, but those of you who are new don't. Before we get to the review itself, we like to talk about our weeks and the goings-on in the wide universe. So with that in mind, Rick, how's Rick been, buddy?
We did a food ranking and I got nostalgia for a lot of the food that we put up there, so I ended up buying some. Turns out I've not had a Toad in the Hole for about 20 years. The Aldi one is indeed top.
Yeah, I even said during the review that the pre-bought Toad in the Holes are surprisingly decent.
The PC is currently 90% working. I'm missing maybe 2 things off it being pretty much perfect. So this thus ends a multiple month-long saga. Over a year, really. It's over a year since it's been working perfectly.
For those of you not in the know, this is effectively the first review that you guys will hear where Rick isn't using his ghetto-ass setup.
Yeah. Other than that, we went to go see Migration, which included a short called Mooned.
Oh, that's the duck thing by the Minion guys, isn't it?
Yes, and in fact, the Minion guys bit is what plays into Mooned. It's like a micro sequel to Despicable Me 1, showing what happened to the villain at the end. It basically ends the same way, in that it shows how he gets along with being on the moon and uses his creativity to try and escape the moon. A Minion shows up, because of course they do, and if he'd have just swallowed his pride and gone with the Minion, he could have gotten home, but apparently he over-engineered his solution, overshot Earth, and ends up on Mars. It's fun, it's cute, but it alone would not have been worth the price of entry. But I was vindicated that it came out, and I wasn't expecting it. It was a nice little thing. I like Despicable Me. I even like the most recent Despicable Me. Even Minions 2 I thought was fantastic. The only thing that I don't like about the series is Minions 1.
I mean, it's really weird, Rick, because I've never actually watched a Minions movie or Despicable Me all the way through. I've seen enough of Despicable Me 1 to get the general gist of the plot, but I didn't watch the whole thing. It's just something that's never gripped me. And also, there's a weird amount of 40-plus-year-olds who are obsessed with Minions like weebs are tits.
But yes, on to the universe. The news that dropped, well, for us today, but actually it happened on the 1st, is that Akira Toriyama is not the grandfather of anime. He's like the weird uncle of anime that everybody knows.
I don't know if I'd call him the weird uncle, but it's one of those where, sorry, yeah, I kind of spoke over you. He passed away at the age of 68, which is old, but not that old. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think there's any understating how influential he has been.
No. I don't think there is a single contemporary manga or anime artist who is as influential as Toriyama.
It's one of those where, I don't know if, technically speaking, Toriyama was the inventor of the shonen genre, but he sure as fuck put it on the map.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think the part of it is that he's always been doing it with comedy, so that's always been something that I've always appreciated.
Have you seen the little cartoon drawing he does that's meant to represent him? He's never taking it too seriously, which I love.
Yeah, the Torybot.
yeah, the little weird creature with the fucking gas mask.
Yep. According to him, the Torybot is the most powerful creature in the Dragon Ball universe.
I think it says a lot that we can smile and laugh despite the fact someone's passed away. I think it says a lot about their work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dragon Ball Z was the popular thing. Let's cut to the chase there. It was the popular thing even in the West.
Yes.
But Dragon Ball was a lot goofier.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's something that people didn't like about Super, is that they were returning to some of the goof. joke, and people didn't realize, no, this is actually how it went. These are the roots that you're trying to erase.
I can't remember if it was chapter 1 or chapter 2, because I read some of Dragon Ball. I read up to about just after they met, I've forgotten his name, the pig dude.
Oolong.
Oolong, that's it. I had Pilaf in my brain, but I knew that, I think that's the cat that Yamcha has.
No, that's Puar. Pilaf is the main villain who's like a goblin.
Well, there we go. I'm just fucking shit with names. But, you know, I managed to read that far, and I can't remember if it was chapter 1 or chapter 2 when Bulma first meets Goku, and Goku has a little look under her panties, and Bulma freaks out, naturally, and you just cut to Goku going, so girls have a bottom on the front.
Yeah, and also he doesn't know where the tail is. He's looking for a tail because he can't see it from the outside.
Doesn't he also, like, slap her on the pussy as well?
Yeah, he does, because asses are meant for slapping.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Product of its time. Toriyama will be missed. I think all you need to do is go on the internet today, and if you're listening to this, well, when the podcast is out, just go on the internet and look at all of the manga artists and anime guys who are just writing paragraphs of how this man influenced their work.
Yeah. End of an era for us, really. Speaking of end of an era, Rooster Teeth is also shutting its doors.
Yeah, it's one of these weird ones where I don't think you and I can talk about it at length, and we sure as fuck can't talk about it from a business point of view. I will just say, I've not watched any Rooster Teeth content, not seriously at least, since the Ryan scandal.
Here's the thing, there are so many names in Rooster Teeth, I can't follow them all, and apparently so many of them are arseholes that I can't follow that either. But all I will say is that I was following Ruby until the season before last. I can't remember whether or not I've watched the last season or whether it was a fever dream that I just missed it. And Ruby in particular hasn't been the same since Monty died.
That was like season 3, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was between seasons 2 and 3. I kept watching it out of basically wanting to carry the torch and see what happened and all that, but still.
I just want to stress, I'm not into Ruby at all. I've not watched it. I don't follow it. I just I was listening to the Rooster Teeth podcast at the time, and they had one episode that started really differently than all the others because Monty Uma died, and I was like, dude, wasn't that guy like 30?
Yeah, that was way before his time.
That was very sobering to fucking 20-year-old me.
Yes, and it was just from something like so routine as well. It was like a severe allergic reaction during routine surgery.
It's something people can't predict, which is honestly terrifying.
Yeah.
We won't linger on that. We'll linger instead on the death of Rooster Teeth, which I think I probably worded it pretty well in the group chat we had, where Rooster Teeth feels like it's been wounded and limping along for a while. I just never thought it would actually collapse.
Yeah. It's also easy to forget, that they were around before YouTube. So even when they were doing like early Red vs. Blue, they were hosting it themselves.
Yeah, I watched a documentary on it not too long ago. Not a real documentary. That sounds really shitty. A YouTube documentary. A person on YouTube who did a bunch of research and went, here's the story of blah, blah, blah. And it's like they were funding themselves entirely on DVD sales at one point, but they were making the DVDs themselves and they had to bulk order a lot of DVDs in order to make it actually profitable.
So it's one of those. The writing's been on the wall for quite some time for anyone paying attention. But now the actual reason that it's going is they say that it's due to a change in what customers want, but really it's Warner Brothers.
Yeah, don't worry, they'll be coming up again in another news story of mine later on. But yeah, Warner Brothers is like, you guys aren't making money, we're getting rid of you. Very important to note, they are holding on to the Ruby and the Genlock. I don't know why the fuck they're holding on to Genlock, but whatever. Franchises and are specifically IPs, and are specifically trying to sell them on to a different person because they're like, these might make money, or at least make a bump in money for us if we sell them to someone. They're also maintaining the rights to the Rooster Teeth podcast network, which is great because the Castle Super Beast podcast is on that, and I didn't want that to go away.
But it's one of those, the current CEO is basically, are you making money? Yes. Are you making enough money? Maybe. Are you making enough money this quarter? No. Well, then you're gone. He seems to be very averse to investing anything into anything rather than just accepting ongoing income streams that require no effort. But oh well.
Straight to your point, man. You and I do a podcast. They don't cost a lot to make.
No.
Which means any money you do make from them is more or less pure profit.
Mm-hmm. Also, speaking of closing its doors, Yuzu has capitulated to Nintendo.
I've got no sympathy for these guys.
Like, in reality, after what you told me last night, no. And it's, as you put it, they had full-on piracy as a Patreon tier.
Yeah, exactly, man. And okay, since they've capitulated and they've basically scrubbed all of their stuff, which of course they've done because Nintendo will go for their asses, they've put out a statement saying, we were never advocating piracy, only trying to preserve games. And it's like, right, well, first of all, that was a fucking lie. However, I understand they have to say that for legal reasons. Two, you can't... Having an emulator of a current gen console kind of defeats the argument of emulation as a preservation method.
Yeah, it's one of those where, yes, develop it in the current cycle because the current system is current. No, don't release it.
And sure as fuck, don't charge for it.
Oh, no. Now, here's the thing. As far as I was aware, the way that they essentially wanted you to do it, and the way that Ryujin X also wants you to do it, is you get your own firmware and your own product keys from your own Switch. However, it's trivially easy to find those things on the internet.
Yeah, and you know what? I would honestly believe the intended goal was just to, hey, the Switch is not a very powerful console. Do you want to emulate it on your PC so you can actually play games well, for lack of a better word? It's just...
And yeah, there's a lot of money in that. Like, you can see it with Sony. People are buying Spider-Man and Horizon Zero Dawn, and I'm assuming Forbidden West when it comes out very, very soon, on PC to be able to play it with something that's not a PS4.
Yeah, it's one of those, but it's like, that clearly wasn't their intention, and
no.
If they didn't do the Tears of the Kingdom shit, I think even Nintendo was like, that was, as litigious, is that the right word?
Litigious, yeah.
Litigious as Nintendo is, I think if they weren't stealing their shit and they weren't charging for it, I think Nintendo would have gone, we don't like this, but we've got bigger fish to fry.
It's one of those, I even said before I knew that they were charging it on the Patreon, was I don't know why they're coming for the emulator when the real villain is the leakers, but they were also like complicit in leaking.
You know what? The actual worst part of this for me is because the guys who made this emulator were also making the 3DS one, which name slips my mind. Citra, and they've just they scrubbed that. That's gone. You could still get it because people immediately went, oh, that's fine, and they uploaded it on the fucking Mega Uploads or whatever, and it's like, here you go, but do that shit at your own risk, because, you know, you don't know how...
Yeah, you don't know how many Trojans are put into the re-uploads of Citra.
Yeah. But, you know, that's actually the blow, because the 3DS is gone, so emulating 3DS stuff is now fair game in my eyes.
Yeah, totally. Yes, 3DSs still exist in the world. No, you can't buy a brand new one. No, you can't buy new games on the eShop because the eShop is gone.
Yeah, but you can go to your local CEX or trade-in place and pay 3 times the price from when they were new, because they know no more new copies are coming.
Yeah, man, try and buy a Pokemon game from CEX.
Like, that was a problem even when the 3DS was still alive and well.
Yeah. Last thing that I saw is Microsoft had an Xbox partner thing.
Okay, this completely slipped under my radar. Let's hear it.
They announced the DLC for Persona 3.
I'm sorry, what? There's DLC for that game?
So, the original Persona 3 had a updated re-release called FES, and the extra chapter at the end was called The Answer. They're essentially releasing something that's actually The Answer as DLC alongside the Xbox release of Persona 3 Reload, and that's going to be coming later this year. It's going to be coming out on Game Pass.
Atlas, fucking boo.
At least they're releasing it as DLC and not a full-on game that you have to buy the whole thing again, because when you had to buy the whole game again, that was the royal treatment in olden days.
I still think it's scummy because it already existed and it should have been part of the remaster as is.
Yeah. Apparently they were actually spending the time to make sure it was good, also gauging whether or not it was worth doing, because if they ended up with doing like 500,000 sales, then probably not worth doing. But since they're in the multiple millions, yeah.
It's Persona. Everyone's got a Persona drought right now because we've not heard any hide nor hair of 6, and we probably won't for a long ass time.
No, not until it's ready. FF14 coming to Xbox. It's not great for either of us, but, you know, great for people who only have Xboxes. First Berserker Kazan looks like Xenos in a Souls-like. The thing that I thought was that it seems to be making the mistake that Monster Hunter clones make of it's too fast. Like, part of the charm of Monster Hunter and Souls is that it's slow, ponderous, and you've got kind of time to react to certain things.
Well, that's assuming it's trying to emulate either of those games.
It very much looks like it's trying to emulate Souls rather than... Okay, maybe it's trying to emulate God of War, but it looks more like a Souls than a God of War.
Okay, I kind of get what you're saying, but you got to bear in mind that God of War's control scheme pretty much hard switched to a Souls-like scheme when it came to the PS4.
Sure. And the last one that I saw is Creatures of Ava. Looks like 24 is going to be a year of everyone but Game Freak doing free-roaming Pokemon games. It's a world of monsters. It has taming, exploration, and photography as focuses, so, not sweatshops like Palworld. And I didn't see any battling, and when I looked into it, the lead creator is Rihanna Pratchett, who is the daughter of Terry Pratchett, and when I looked her up, she's got a long list of credits in games.
As what, out of curiosity, what sort of role does she usually take? Is it writer, producer?
Particularly, she's lead writer. The ones I can think off the top of my head were the Overlord games from PS3 kind of era.
That's interesting, because I never got far in those games, but I always found the parts I did play very funny.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. There's Pratchett DNA running all the way through Overlord. And yeah, so looking forward to that. Looking forward to it being good, hopefully. Coming out sometime 2024. But I think that's about it from me. How about you? How have you been? What have you done? And what have you seen out in the universe?
I've been replaying Lord of the Rings The Third Age for the millionth time.
You have?
I love that game.
Yeah.
I even said to you last night that with them remaking the Star Wars Battlefront in quotation marks classic, I would really, 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 really love a remaster of this game. It'll never happen, but I want it.
Yeah. Does it end in a way that there could be more?
I mean, kind of. It's one of those where if they were to go back and actually give it a remake treatment as opposed to a remaster, I'd honestly cut everything after. I wouldn't bother with the Pelennor Fields stage. I'd change that into something a bit more than we actually got. Because you do Pelennor Fields, you fight a bunch of Mumakil, which is not fun. You do the Witch King fight with Eowyn, because of course you do. That's the most iconic part of that battle, at least in the cinematic movie. And then
totally.
At the very end, you fight the Eye of Sauron.
You fight the Eye of Sauron.
Yeah, which is why I say I'd cut Pelennor Fields, and I'd make the party be like, basically do clean-up duty of Gondor when Aragorn leads the troops towards making a final last stand to distract for Frodo. They're still dealing with stuff, and then branch it out and be like, okay, and then Berefor and co do their own story.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I can agree with that.
Like, the timeline's already convoluted as far as Third Age goes, because you point out already that it's dumb that the party literally fight the Balrog with Gandalf.
Yeah. Until then, it's technically something that maybe could have happened. And then they just, go out onto the bridge and are like, my friends, I was going to make this cool heroic sacrifice and solo this fucking Balrog.
The thing is, though, is he doesn't even have a chat with you. The fight just happens.
Yeah. So you've got Gandalf, who's a Seymour, and he's got, he's 5 times more powerful than any of your party members.
That's the case for every guest character, though.
Yeah.
They make it very clear that no matter how powerful even Faramir is better than the party, which, fair enough, Faramir's a cool dude, but...
Yeah. Faramir's kind of on the tier of maybe you could have included that as a playable character.
The reason why I say the timeline gets all fucked up is the moment you enter Rohan is when they just start going, fuck it. Because you do this thing where you encounter Grima Wormtongue in Snowborn, which makes no fucking sense, because Theoden and co have already fucked off to Helm's Deep by then.
Yeah.
So you fight him, and then you fight Sharku, which is the lead Rog rider during the ambush.
Alrighty.
And there's no way you can fight him, because either it's before the ambush, which means there'd be a shit zillion people, or it's after the ambush, where he's already died.
Yeah.
And then you get to Helm's Deep, you do Helm's Deep, you fight with all the legendary, the 3 main heroes, which is cool, don't get me wrong. But then the next level, you jump straight towards Gileath, where Faramir is defending the city, and obviously the timeline, really, that's not possible. But who cares? It's fun. It makes for fun set pieces. And, yes, it is a Final Fantasy X rip-off as far as the battle system is concerned. But what a game to fucking rip off.
Yeah, the PS2 RPG.
But speaking of RPGs, it's not the only thing I've been spending my time on. I've still been playing Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth.
Yeah, that's about right.
I'm fucking 65 hours in, and I'm not finished yet. I'm really taking my time. Every time I do a burst of plot, I'm fucking hooked. I love all the side content. I've been doing a lot of grinding in the Infinite Dungeons.
Sweet.
Just because it's fun. I was telling a mutual friend of ours, I've wasted easy 20 hours on the fucking Animal Crossing clone.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, there's some side stories where if you give certain characters gifts while you're talking to them, you get a sub-story which, no joke, is just Ichiban getting laid.
Okay.
Like, it cuts to it does that anime thing even, where it cuts to, you know when you see a flash of white in a hentai game?
Yeah.
That, but it's pink. There is some news.
Yeah, let's go.
I mentioned it before, but we're talking about Warner Brothers again.
Oh, yeah. What have they done?
Well, Warner Brothers has stated, and this was a GameSpot article, so take this with a pinch of salt, because I don't know how reliable the source actually is, but allegedly one of the executives over at Warner Brothers video game division says they want to shift away from, and I quote, volatile AAA console games in favour of free-to-play and mobile games.
Oof.
Now, here's the thing, is you and I are going oof because that doesn't make any sense as a video game player. As a businessman, it makes perfect sense because, you know, you sell a AAA video game once to one person. A mobile or free-to-play game is a constant stream of income, so therefore it's better.
Yep. But it's not how you get people to remember your company fondly.
No. It's very weird as well because they made a lot of money last year off of Hogwarts Legacy alone.
Yes. I think it was the best-selling game of 2023.
I'm not going to argue with that one because it sounds plausible. Harry Potter, like, just sticking the name Harry Potter on something guarantees it's going to sell a big old chunk of change.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, you know, it's a game I've not touched because, one, Harry Potter's fucking boring to me, and two, I don't like J.K. Rowling, making boycotting Harry Potter very easy because I don't care about it.
Yeah, totally.
I'll say it every time we bring up Harry Potter. I'm sorry if you were a fan of Harry Potter and you happen to be transgender, because that must suck.
Yeah, I think I'll go with I don't know the actual statement, but the Daniel Radcliffe stance of, if it meant a lot to you when you were growing up, then treasure those memories, and if you feel differently now, then there are people who agree with you.
Again, I'm literally just expressing sympathy for someone who adores a thing and then finds out the person who made that thing hates the fact you exist.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. I don't know how I would cope with that, you know?
Because magical worlds are a dead easy allegory for anything like that. Like, growing up anything other than, like, straight, cisgender, a magical world is a perfect allegory for, there are people growing up differently to the way that you're expected to. Maybe I can take some solace in that. It's so mystifying that she's picked one group of people just to hate.
Wow, it's fucking funny, isn't it, how we transition from corporate evil to just, look at this bitch.
Yeah. We were talking about Warner Brothers, no? She wasn't even part of the notes.
Yeah, sorry, I went off on a tangent. We don't like J.K. Rowling. It's fine. We're allowed our opinion. And we are cis men, which means she can't have a go at us for not liking her for whatever fucking weird nonsense reason she usually comes up with.
Yeah.
And anyway, Warner Brothers, baffling decision as if you don't look at it from a business perspective. Free-to-play and mobile games are, hey, let's call it what it is. It's gambling for children.
And sometimes not for children. The ones who are not children are the ones who have got the more money and will not try and do a chargeback.
Yeah, but what you do is you get them on the free-to-play game when they're kids without income. They spend their pocket money on your game, which isn't much, but don't worry, they'll be hooked.
Yeah, when they hit 18 and start getting their benefits, the benefits go straight to the company.
Yeah, it's not a fun time. And I will say, like, speaking of like Harry Potter Legacy, don't forget Warner Brothers puts out fucking Mortal Kombat whenever that's released, and that's already got predatory practices in it with their fucking microtransactions. Granted, their microtransactions are mostly for cosmetics, so, you know, it's like, who cares? But at the same time, it's like, this is a fucking full tight priced fucking released fighting game. Stop trying to get more money out of me, you fucks. It does make me believe that perhaps NetherRealm Studio had less to do with that and it was more pushing from Warner Brothers. But hey-ho diddly-do. Speaking of fights, this is a fucking weird one. Mike Tyson is going to fight Jake Paul.
Okay, yeah, that's something that I wasn't expecting to hear today. I thought Mike Tyson had pretended to retire from fighting.
He didn't pretend to retire. I think he just retired because he had other things to do, and then he came out for an exposition not too long ago.
Okay, I wasn't paying attention.
That's fine. I mean, I'm barely paying attention. It's just I saw on because we don't watch YouTube videos on our account, the channel account, the Nonsense Review. It means whenever I upload a video, I get the default fucking feed that just the algorithm wants to show you. There was a video of Jake Paul saying saying, I don't know what he said, but it said Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. I went, oh, that sounds like clickbait. And then I saw an article later on, and it just said Mike Tyson says he will destroy Jake Paul. And I'm like, that was real? It's one of those where no one's getting anything out of this, apart from people who want to see Jake Paul get beaten up. And I've got a spoiler for you. As far as I'm aware, Jake Paul is not incompetent, so therefore he's probably not going to get beaten the shit out of.
Yeah. It's one of the annoying things. As much as a prick he might be, he actually isn't that bad at fighting.
I mean, I've said this about his brother, Logan Paul. I don't like Logan Paul because of the style of content he makes. It's just not my thing. But fuck, he's good in WWE. He's an entertaining heel.
Yeah.
You know? And again, Mike Tyson is old. I'm not saying he can't go anymore, but like no one gets anything from this fight apart from the fact they're both going to make bank, which is obviously the reason why they're doing it.
Yeah.
Like, people who don't like Jake Paul are going to buy this fight because they want to see Mike Tyson knock him out. People who like Jake Paul are going to buy this fight because they're like, oh my god, Jake Paul's going to beat up Mike Tyson. You know? Fucking easy money for both parties. And you know what? From that perspective, good for them. Anyway, that's just a weird story. I thought I'd bring it up. Rick, this is not a wrestling podcast.
What happened?
Sting is officially retired.
Oh?
No, that's it. He's retired. He had his last match this last weekend. And yeah, I can't believe it. Undertaker and Sting are both retired. The two icons of wrestling as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, fair enough.
But let's talk about Sting's tag team partner. So Darby Allin had a really nasty spot during the match. He went through some glass. It didn't look very good. I wasn't a fan. That's a different discourse for another podcast to disseminate.
Sure.
But apparently he's going to be taking some time off work because he's been threatening this for a while now, but apparently this year's the year where he's going to try and climb Everest.
Okay, well, best of fortune.
Good luck to him. Apparently he's been training. But, it's something which I don't think people realise, that despite the fact that, don't get me wrong, this fella is fit as fuck because he's a wrestler. He trains most days of his life. But I think people tend to forget, because people are lambasting him in wrestling communities saying, oh, he's risking his life for no reason, blah this, blah that. The guy is fit. The guy has money. The guy can afford to do Everest and survive it. People like to point out statistics like 12 people last year died on Everest. Fucking hundreds of people tried to climb it, though.
Yes. Can't discount the effect of a good Sherpa.
Like, for real. Again, Darby Allin can afford it. Darby Allin is a fit gentleman. I think people are worried for no reason. Don't get me wrong. Doesn't matter how fit you are. Doesn't matter how much you pay on supplies and actually get yourself to the top. There's no guarantee you'll do it, and there's always a risk. But people shouldn't be roasting him online for wanting for finally trying to achieve a dream.
Yeah, exactly. Like, okay, yeah, it's a rich person's dream, but it's very much a dream that anybody can just go and have. You're not stopped from trying to, from wanting to climb Everest, because Everest is there. And it's like the, maybe not the white whale, but it's the challenge for people who like climbing.
Yeah, if you are a mountain climber, it's the one. It is the tallest. Why do you want to climb it? Because it's there. It's an iconic quote for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what? It's a weird sort of paradox in that Everest is the tallest mountain in the world. That's why people want to climb it. It is not the hardest mountain in the world to climb.
No.
I'm not a mountain climber. I'm never going to climb a mountain. It's not a thing I'm interested in to do personally. But I do love watching other people climb mountains and listening to proper fucking mountaineers. They're like, yeah, no, Everest is, don't get me wrong, just by the fact that it's over 8,000 feet means, once you reach that point, you're in something called the death zone.
Yes.
It is a place where humans literally cannot live.
Without additional oxygen, yeah.
Yeah, it's why Brian Blessed is crazy when he says he wants people should climb Everest without oxygen, and it's like, maybe, no.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got the combination of oldest and highest without oxygen, but like...
I don't think that's actually correct, because you said that the last time we brought up Everest, and we said a lot of things that were not actually correct once I looked into it.
Okay, yeah, just take anything I say about anything with a pinch of salt.
Oh yeah, here's the thing, Rick, here's the secret trick, which I learnt from a fucking Castle Super Beast clip a long time ago. If you say, to my knowledge, before you say something, you cannot be done. Because what you're saying is correct. To my knowledge, this is the situation. You could be completely wrong, but what you say is correct.
Yep.
Rick, what are we doing today?
We're doing Port by the Sea. It's an indie animation. I saw it a little while ago. If you'd like to join along with us at home, it's 3, 2, 1, and go.
So yeah, the link to this will be in the description because it's a little indie thing on YouTube as opposed to like something on Netflix. It's by the Jordan Whitman channel.
Yeah. Top of my head, can't think of what else they've done. Maybe I could have looked at this beforehand.
That's fine, it's fine. Those are some cool fucking designs. Although they did look like they were straight up taken out Shadow of the Colossus.
Little bit.
Oh, Tiamat, okay. Tiamat is usually a dragon. It's interesting they've gone for a bit more of a, like, a Balor type design.
Yeah. Tiamat also appears to be male in this. Yeah, I think it's just D&D that make Tiamat into a dragon. Because, like, in traditional mythology, Bahamut is a turtle.
Yeah, but it's turtle dragons.
Well, there's dragon turtles now, but yeah.
Man, was this like ported from a comic, or is it literally just they straight up went the animation route? Because these look like comic book. Well, until this bit, they look like comic book panels.
It does look a bit that way, don't it? Well, last time we saw something like that, it was Lackadaisy, and that very definitely was a comic turned into an animation.
True. Oh, that's a nice little tune.
Oh man, that little boat's zooming.
Yeah. Yeah, so interestingly, when we spoke about this like the other day when we were confirming what we were going to watch, you were like, oh, is that the fishing thing? And I went, fishing? I thought it was about pirates.
Because, all I saw was this little screenshot where you got a pirate girl and a guy in a anorak.
Yeah, true. Jesus Christ, this is a fucking indie animation on YouTube. It's so fluid.
It is. It's so good. It even has the kid character of the little crab.
I'm not gonna lie, that made me wanted to fucking cough, seeing the crab go on the uvula.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, the human characters are reminding me a lot of Animal Crossing.
Yeah, I feels it.
That is a great name for your fisher pet. Okay. This is dangerously similar to a joke in Muppet Treasure Island.
Oh, fair enough.
Where Long John Silver had a pet lobster, and it's just like I thought pirates had pet parrots. No, lobsters. Oh, that's the classic fucking little sea shanty jaunt, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So we do straight up have monster people. I glossed over the fact that she was like an old grandma fucking Tweety bird.
Yeah, because she just looks like a grandma. She looks like a grandma before she looks like a bird.
Yeah. And now I'm getting Flapjack vibes. Do you ever watch Flapjack?
Not really. But I'm aware that there's the big dude who talks in rudders.
Yeah. No, that's Chowder.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no. So yeah, I didn't watch either.
Oh. Yeah, the guy you're thinking of was also fucking voiced by John DiMaggio.
Oh yeah. Sounds about right.
Oh, that's fucking adorable.
Yeah, he wants a quid. He wants a sweetie for a quid.
Oh, that's such a fucking child argument.
Yeah.
How are they making the crab look so cute?
Because he's an egg.
Oh, yeah. Fair enough. Well, he's not going to succeed, is he?
No, that sweetie is going to it's going to become the focus of the episode. You mark my words.
Consider them marked, because I disagree with them. I do think, however, it's going to be the thing that saves them from the monster at the end of the episode, assuming the monster shows up again.
It's the Chekhov's gun. I like how they've got fangs. Like, it's something that just kind of gets glossed over with humans.
It also feels like an anime thing, don't it?
Yeah, to a degree.
That's okay. It's something I associate with anime characters.
Sure, yeah, the one with the cute little fang. You know that she's a crazy girl when she's got a cute little fang.
Sure.
Oh, literally bring back my Bonnie to me.
Was that fucking fish have fucking, like, saber-tooth tusks?
I didn't see.
I get the feeling that because of the way the guy is talking, that Bonnie's actually his boat, rather than the woman in the picture.
Maybe.
Unless they're both just being really coy and trying to protect the boy's innocence.
Yeah, I think that's a bit more not pliable. Likely.
Maybe so. That was a fucking interesting transition.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong, not unique because I've seen other shows do that, but it's a cool one, and I certainly wasn't expecting it. I think she just confirmed that it was in fact wife. So never mind about my theory. This is why diving caves are scary as fuck.
Yes. Yeah. Do not go on caves on the beach if you do not know what you're doing.
No. The crab doesn't have to give a fuck. He can breathe underwater.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we got fish people.
Inaccurate. The crab is going forwards.
Haha, it's a cartoon. We don't know it's actually a crab.
Yeah. So the bird lady's eating people apparently.
I mean, it's candy on the floor. Which, you know, is what they bought from the bird lady was candy, and it was candy making the sticky stuff like they did. Oh, then again, I see what you're going for. Maybe that is the twist.
Yeah, there was blood dripping down from the ceiling. It may or may not have been candy.
Yeah,
it was said to be candy, but
I take things at face value. I did assume it was jam, but maybe this is a bit more sinister than we thought. That being said, interesting to note that the subtitles count those creatures as imps. Oh, and she's just said imps anyway, so it's fine. Rick, fuck me, you are literally the girl in this show and I'm the boy. and it's really bothering me, because the boy is clearly the slower of the two.
No, this isn't Pokemon Go.
Or Power World, apparently.
Well, yeah, I suppose you do get essence out of it, don't you?
Yeah, fuck you, it was jelly, bitch! Wow, that's convenient.
She's cutting him a break.
Yeah. I just realised she's got Pikachu cheeks.
She does.
They're great!
Luigi.
Yeah, maybe. I got nothing for this one.
No.
Johnny Bravo?
A bit of a stretch, but okay.
Might be Helltaker, Hell Pie.
Yeah, Hell Pie.
Are we visiting Strahd?
Maybe.
Well, as pragmatic as she is, she's a sucker for his naive innocence.
Yeah. Weaponized innocence.
How cute is the Gravekeeper going to be?
Well, they're picking up a teddy and keeping it.
Okay. Well, I wasn't expecting him to move like that.
No, I don't think they were either.
Hello, Slenderman. Although it is a good sign if the Gravekeeper says, I know for a fact that person's not here, which implies they're not dead.
Yeah, and if they are dead, they didn't die here.
Damn, that's sombering.
Yeah. Look at his grump. He's so grumpy it transcends scenes.
Yeah. And now he is the big sad. Look, Yoshi egg.
Yeah.
I want to eat it. Okay, now is that connected, or is it just time to reintroduce the Leviathan? That's the question.
Whoops.
Oh, she's got a Davy Jones
Oh, yeah,
fucking...
she can track the creature.
Oh, there's something wedged in its cheek, so is this going to be like the lion and the fucking fawn?
Maybe.
Ah, so it wasn't being mean, it's coughing because of its wound. That's a fucking what? Hearing horn?
Oh, hearing
yeah!
horn. Okay. Well, maybe it is her.
I mean, it's not impossible, I suppose, especially seeing as it happened to appear when they did the song.
And it's got eyelashes. Which is how you know it's a girl dragon.
Is it?
Yeah, it's got like the eyeshadow wing makeup.
Okay. Oh my god, that's adorable.
Oh, it's the pufferfish.
The fish! Oh, it didn't have fucking saber-tooth fangs. That's its fucking whiskers.
Oh, yeah.
The fish was called Bonnie, not the woman. So I was almost on the right track. Fuck!
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be the bloody pufferfish.
Aw. And some say her heart grew 3 sizes that day. Oh, so that's what that is. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I know they sort
the
of.
shatter is when the moon broke up. Yeah.
That's what I was kind of assuming it meant, and we know that the what was it? Fuck, not Titan. Tiamat was trapped on the moon or blocked via the moon.
Mm-hmm.
She's fine. Oh, that's nice. You don't see that a lot in animation, do you?
I know that one's thank you as well. That's the only sign language I know.
Was it because of Katawa Shoujo?
No, not even, because that wasn't animated.
No, I was taking the piss anyway.
Oh, look at that big old meaty chunk.
Man, I will say cartoon meat always looks delicious.
It does, doesn't it?
Oh, and the imps are just friendly.
Yeah. Well, they are now, apparently.
Look at this Charon looking motherfucker. Well, this is a really cute show.
It is. Excited to see more. Like, this really is the indie animation renaissance that we're, like, living through right now. I'm so here for it, and, like, I don't think we've seen an actual bad show out of all these.
Yeah, I wouldn't say nothing was bad. I think the pacing of the only thing that stands out is the pacing of the Greek show we watched was not great.
Yeah, where it would just, like, linger on somebody for, like, too long and just let them do... Oh, this is a very Steven Universe-y, like, sounding exit theme.
Yeah, they've got, yeah. I'm just straight up surprised. Aaron Hansen. We know that name.
Oh, he was. Yeah.
Granted, he played the monsters, but, Why do we know Aaron Hansen?
He played a monster in the Owl House as well. He played the monster in the Owl House.
Oh, right, Egoraptor. That's Aaron Hansen, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Egoraptor.
Yeah. That bothers me because I've recently been sleeping with Game Grumps. That's fucking wrong. The Game Grumps things have been on in the background as I sleep lately, so I should recognise the name a bit more. But anyway, yeah. Man, it's amazing how much they can get done with such a... Oh, granted, we've got a minute worth of credits here, and there is a team behind this, but it's such a small team for an animated show.
Yeah. And, like, even if I wasn't watching it for the show, like, these credits have just some absolute treats of little watercolors going on. Like, I'd be watching the credits, even without having to wait for the end.
And if they ended on this shot, that would be great. Which it looks like they are, in fact, doing that. Like, not enough shows do that with their end credits. A string of just like, here's some artwork we did for the show.
Yeah. Like, last thing I can remember that they did that was Mandalorian, where they just put, like, concept art for that episode as the end credits.
Yeah, and then they sold that shit as a calendar.
Yeah. I'm all for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Rick, I think there's no understating the fact we both enjoyed this, but I'll have to ask the question all the same. What did you think?
It was great. It did the traditional fiction thing of giving you the breadcrumbs and letting you feel smart when you figure something out just before it's revealed.
Yeah. Didn't work out for either of us this time, though, did it?
No, not perfectly. How about you? What do you think?
It was great. I loved it. I'm really glad that despite the fact they had some sinister implications for some of their twists and turns, none of them actually panned out as sinister at all.
Yeah, I can assume that's going to be a thing going forward, that you're going to expect something sinister for so long and nothing ends up being sinister until the one that finally is towards the end of the season.
Yeah, and I'll say out of all the characters, the Gravekeeper is the one that has me intrigued the most.
Yeah, I don't know if the Gravekeeper's going to join the main cast or not, but yeah.
I'll tell you what vibes I get. I get early Adventure Time Lich vibes.
Kinda.
And like, they'll just show him at the end of an episode, but he won't necessarily necessarily actually do anything.
Like, he was collecting toys and things like that, so that could go either way. Either he's collecting toys to make sure that the universe doesn't have toys and doesn't have joy, or he's collecting them because he's got a soft spot.
I think you might be reading a tad more into it, because bear in mind, he is the gravekeeper. He is keeping the graves. People leave things at graves, and that's a job people still have now, in which
Yes.
people will go around and pick up personal effects and either move them on or just straight up throw them away, because, you know, a soft toy on a child's grave, for example, is a nice sentiment, but if you leave it there for a week, it's gonna fucking do some bad things to the ecosystem.
Yeah, you leave it there a month, it's going to be mossy.
Mossy if you're lucky, infested with fire ants if you're not.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to visit a grave infested with fire ants.
No.
And on that bombshell, Rick, do you have a favourite moment?
I think it was the moment, it was a personal moment when I just realised, oh, it's a girl dragon, and just towards the end.
I want to stress, we don't even know that, because it wasn't even the wife like you thought it was.
No, I didn't even think it was the wife, but yeah, Bonnie is a girl's name, so yeah, oh, it's a girl dragon, and then turned out to be the pufferfish.
I want to point out that Billy the Kid was called Wee Bonnie.
Okay.
I'm just saying, like, it is technically gender neutral. Like, any name's gender neutral. I get what you're saying. Like, some names sound more feminine than others.
Well, it's also an adjective. Like, you got a bonny lad or a bonny lass.
Sure. I could be wrong. That's fine.
But yeah, it was one of those. Like, I even brought it up a little bit earlier that they give you breadcrumbs and let you figure things out just before it's revealed. I think that was the pinnacle of that during this episode, and I like that kind of storytelling. It makes you feel big brain. How about you? What was your favourite moment?
It was probably a silly moment it was in fact a silly moment in the grand scheme of things, but I really enjoyed while Umi was trying to have a proper conversation with the old lady shopkeeper, and we just see Port's little adventure of, what sweetie will I get?
Yes.
It's a perfect little, like, snippet of what the relationship dynamic is like whenever they meet new people. You got Port acting like a kid and Umi trying to do the business shit.
Yeah, you've got the very much the under 10 and over 10 dichotomy.
But yes, I want to point out we don't like being overly harsh on indie things, but at the same time, we can't only talk about the good, we also have to talk about the bad. Rick, do you have a weakest link?
Okay, the only weak link I can think of, top of my head, is the opening where it was a text info dump. Could maybe have been done as a little bit of, like, rocking chair storytelling that was voiced. Like, yes, we enjoyed the visuals and the character designs in silhouette of the monsters, but it was difficult to absorb all that information in text when we're used to having it, spoken. And everything else is animated and spoken really nicely as well. So that just felt the only bit that was out of place. And as soon as that was over, we got to immediate fluid animation.
Yeah, I get entirely what you're saying, because as you were pointing that out, my brain instantly goes back to My Little Pony Friendship is Magic first started, where they did the exact same fucking thing, but it had Twilight Sparkle narrating it.
Yes.
It was literally just, here is Nightmare Moon. It was even the fucking moon as well.
yeah, it's the moon. How about you? What was your weakest link?
Yeah, again, when I like something, I'm a lot like you. It's difficult to actually find something. We got to be nitpicky with stuff like this.
Yes.
I want people who listen to this to remember, we're being super nitpicky. These aren't serious fucking, like, oh, it's awful, you can't watch it. It was short, man. I feel like this episode could have gone on for another 5 minutes easy. They could have fleshed out a few background characters or anything, really.
That would bring you up to the standard 22 minutes of a syndicated cartoon, but that's the benefit of these animated pilots. They can be however long or short as they need to be.
Yeah, because let's be real here. While I'm criticising it, at the same time, they got everything out they needed to get out. It didn't feel rushed.
Yeah.
Which was one of my complaints I levied towards Has Been Hotel, which, despite how good that show ended up being, the series felt rushed.
Okay.
I mean, we won't hash up old ground. You can go back to our retrospective on Has Been Hotel, and, like, it didn't take away from my enjoyment. I still loved that show, but it felt rushed. This didn't feel rushed, but it's also one of those questions you got to ask yourself. If they did add in that extra content, would it have then felt like it was just being padded and bloated out?
Yeah, it feels like this episode had basically a lot more care and attention put into it than will be possible on a week-by-week basis.
Yeah, but I also don't... I would never expect an indie cartoon being released on YouTube to be released weekly.
Oh, no, not weekly, but you know what I mean? Like, if you got a contract for, okay, you have a season, and you put out one a week for 2 months, or or 3 months or whatever, you have the entire season pretty much ready to go by the time that you air the first episode. But by the same token, they all need to be done, so something has to give, and normally it's quality.
I think that's a studio issue more than a writer-producer issue, or even animator issue.
Yeah.
I think it's also an unfair comparison to make. Or not unfair. Unfair's the wrong word. I think it's a comparison you can't actually make, you know?
I feel you.
Like, it's why I don't compare Has Been Hotel to Helluva Boss, because they're being released via two totally different platforms. It would be an unfair yardstick, regardless of which show you favoured. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of padding, I think our padding is over, Rick. Let's get to the crux of it. Do you have an MVP?
My MVP is going to be Port. As much as I love Umi's design and her just general demeanour, I think Port drove the episode more by having his childlike wonder.
I mean, Umi even pointed out in the episode that if it was just her, she would have given up after asking one person.
Port gets it from me. He's very much the kid character, whereas Umi kind of is the adult's way in to a degree. So yeah, he gets it from me. How about you? Who gets your MVP?
Yeah, weirdly, I thought you were going to go the other way with this. I thought you were going to give your award to Umi, so I was going to give it to Port. I had a whole speech prepared. So now I'm going to have to pivot because I honestly think you need to split the difference in this episode. I think Umi and Port both carried this episode as they should. They're the main characters, at least they appear to be. Yeah, I'm going to give it to Umi. I think they both pulled their weight. I always prefer the straight man character anyway, which Umi gives that vibes. Like, let's put it this way. If this was Adventure Time, I think Port would be Finn, and I think Umi would be Princess Bubblegum.
Yeah. And there is no Jake. Jake is Jolly Roger.
Yeah.
Because Jolly actually had a reasonable amount of screen time in terms of, like, doing things and pushing the button, you know?
Yeah. I mean, when Umi and Port were arguing outside the cave, the only reason it happened is because Jolly Roger went, fuck this, I'll do it myself.
Yeah.
And they had a fun old time. But, I'll also say this. It's interesting to see when you have a show which has anamorphic characters. Is that the right word?
Anthropomorphic.
Anthropomorphic. There you go. Characters. Like we had Tony the Tiger, or rather Discount. We had the old lady, Tweety Bird.
Mm-hmm.
But you've still got regular animals as well.
Yeah, totally.
And I like how at least there is the distinction of, regular animals can't talk.
Yeah, as far as we can see.
Well, we didn't see Jolly Roger and we didn't see Bonnie talk. I think that does it for us today, guys. As always, we've got the comment section down below on YouTube if you want to talk to us. Alternatively, you can send us an email at
nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com.
Yes. Join us again next week, where we take a brief break from the world of indies for something a bit more mainstream. But you'll have to wait to see what it is. Bye, guys.
Ta-ra.